At the end of May, almost 5 million Ukrainians registered official refugee status abroad, the United Nations reports. These are people who ran away from heavy fighting and occupation, and after 3 months of the war, 2,800,000 refugees still remained in different countries of the world. Ukrainians fled the shelling, Russians are fleeing dictatorship and unemployment. They often go to Europe and other Commonwealth countries, as they cannot get there directly due to sanctions.
I can't say anything, they'll put me in jail, sorry.
Nearly 300,000 Russians have traveled abroad since the first day of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine until April. Yulia Florinskaya, director of the Institute of Demography of the Higher School of Economics of Russia, names these approximate numbers in an interview with Medusa. According to her, for calculating the exact numbers, the information from border guards is needed, but they do not disclose it.
The number of departures from Russia to Georgia for the first week of the war was named 25,000. There was a figure of 30,000, 50,000 people who left for Armenia. About 15,000, according to the latest data, entered Israel. Perhaps there will still be some estimates, as Georgia gave on crossing its border. For example, at the end of March, the Georgian Ministry of Internal Affairs reported that 35,000 citizens of the Russian Federation entered the country in a month. 20,700 left. They don't say where they went, but official statistics will not appear this year. Julia Florinskaya, director of the Institute of Demography, from an interview with Medusa.
All European countries, Canada and the United States closed the sky to Russian airlines as a result of sanctions. Mexico, Netherlands, Czech Republic, Latvia, Estonia and many others no longer open visas for Russian citizens, and Denmark has stopped accepting visa applications at all consulates in the aggressor state.
Even if we are not talking about wariness towards people with a Russian passport, it is objectively difficult to leave. Planes don't fly, it is impossible to get visas to many countries. At the same time, there are difficulties receiving offers, the inability to receive scholarships for education. After all, many people started with the support of scholarship funds. Now these opportunities are narrowing, as many scholarship funds will redistribute money towards Ukrainian refugees. It makes sense. Julia Florinskaya, director of the Institute of Demography, from an interview with Medusa.
There is a completely different picture in relation to refugees. Anyone with a Ukrainian passport will be helped to adapt abroad. This is actively promoted by the state programs of Ukraine's partner countries. Germany has registered all able-bodied refugees in order to get them a job from June the 1st. In Poland, every fourth able-bodied Ukrainian refugee has already found a job, and this is more than 100,000 Ukrainians, said the Deputy Minister of Internal Affairs of Poland and the Commissioner for Refugees from Ukraine, Pavel Shevchenko.
According to various sources, 60–70% of refugees are people with higher education. According to Germany, among those who found themselves there, 70% are women. This is a fantastic number for Europe and for us.
According to the Institute of Demography of the National Academy of Sciences of Ukraine, about 90% of Ukrainians still plan to return home. About 10% are thinking about it or are sure that they will stay.
Approximately 10–15% try to take advantage of the liberal conditions for the accommodation of Ukrainians in other countries, get a legal status, get a job and move on with the procedure. Clearly, these people will not return. We must fight to get that core group back. There is another risk. If these women decide to stay abroad and when the ban on the departure of men of military age is lifted, families will unite, but not in Ukraine, rather abroad.
The European countries themselves also influence the decision of Ukrainians whether to return or not, all because of their immigration policy.
Not only Germany, but also Poland, Czech Republic, any country will fight for migrants. This is a very big challenge. We need to take it very seriously. So we need to think about it today and not wait until the war is over.
Russians are accepted differently. Once abroad, some of them complain on social networks that locals do not want to rent out their housing, inflate prices, and do not accept them in certain restaurants. Even in Kazakhstan, where it is still possible to fly by plane from Russia, local residents are outraged by the influx of migrants, media reports. Despite such a reception, Russia has become a place where a certain part of the population doesn't want to stay.
There is a mass departure of citizens, people of different specialities but with higher education, journalists, IT specialists, scientists, doctors, and so on. This may become a loss, but it's too early to talk about it. In this immigration, the proportion of people with a higher education will change dramatically. It was already rather big, 40–50% according to my estimates, but it will be 80–90%. Julia Florinskaya, director of the Institute of Demography, from an interview with Meduza.
If the war in Ukraine drags on, millions of Ukrainians may not return. As for Russian citizens, it is even more difficult to predict. If the regime in Russia does not change, it will be impossible to return its citizens back. Reported by Pavel Stelmach, Yulia Bezborodko, UATV News.